The storm came out of nowhere. Lieutenant Orion Hale had seen his share of planetary tempests, but this one was different. Violent, alive, almost sentient. One moment, his shuttle was coasting over the amber dunes of Virelia 9. The next it was plummeting through lightning and sand, alarms screaming, fire trailing from both engines. When the dust settled, silence swallowed the wreckage. The wind had died, leaving only the faint ticking of cooling metal. Orion groaned, pulling himself from the twisted cockpit. His visor cracked, oxygen leaking, but the air thin, dry, breathable. He staggered into the desolate wasteland, the wreckage a burning scar behind him. He activated his wrist beacon, but the device flickered red, no signal. His voice trembled as he whispered, "Command, this is Hale. Down. Anyone reading?" Nothing but static. He was alone. Orion knew standard protocol. Secure shelter, ration water, wait for recovery. He set up a small survival pod from the emergency kit, its fabric walls trembling in the cooling breeze. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Virelia's twin moons rose, a haunting pale blue light cast across the dunes. He had survived worse. But as the hours passed, something gnawed at him, the silence. No birds, no insects, no movement. Just the echo of his own breathing. That was when he heard it. A faint chirp, high-pitched, uncertain, came from the edge of the crash site. He froze, hand drifting to his sidearm. Another chirp, then a rustle of sand. Carefully he followed the sound. Half buried beneath a sheet of metal was a small creature, barely the size of his palm. Its skin shimmered like liquid glass, translucent with pulses of blue light flickering beneath the surface. Its limbs were spindly, delicate, its eyes impossibly large and bright. It looked at him and squeaked, a sound between a question and a plea. "Easy," Orion murmured, crouching down. "I'm not gonna hurt you." The creature's side heaved, injured. Orion gently lifted the metal, freeing it. To his shock, the tiny being didn't run. Instead, it crawled closer, resting weakly against his boot. He took it back to his shelter. He named it Luma, for the glow that faintly radiated from its body. For the next 2 days, Orion nursed it with bits of ration water and warmth from a thermal blanket. The creature seemed to recover quickly, and soon it was exploring his shelter, curious about everything. It mimicked sounds. His voice, the beeps of his equipment, even the low hum of the power cell. "You're a smart one, huh?" he said one night, watching it tilt its head as though understanding. When he slept, Luma curled beside his arm, its faint glow painting soft halos on the tent walls. The light comforted him. It reminded him of home, of stars. But the world outside remained hostile. On the 4th day, Orion ventured out to locate the ship's emergency transponder, hoping it might still transmit. Luma insisted on following, bounding across the sand on tiny limbs that left almost no trace. The dunes stretched endlessly, but as they walked, Orion noticed something strange. Patches of glass-like sand melted into smooth shapes. He knelt, touching one. It was warm, almost alive. Luma chirped nervously, tugging at his glove. All right, he said softly. "We'll move." They hadn't gone far when the ground trembled. From beneath the dunes, a dark shape rose. Massive, segmented, hissing. A subterranean predator, drawn by the vibrations. Its mandibles clicked, spraying sand as it surged toward them. Orion fired his pulse pistol, bolts of light striking its armored hide with little effect. The creature screamed, lashing out. The blast of wind sent him tumbling backward. Luma darted forward, tiny, glowing fiercely now. It let out a sound that wasn't fear but defiance, a resonance that rippled through the air. The beast froze mid-lunge, shrieking as the dunes shimmered with blue light. For a moment, the entire desert seemed to hum with energy. Then the creature recoiled and fled, vanishing beneath the sand. Orion stared in disbelief. Luma's glow dimmed and it stumbled weak. He caught it in his palms. "You saved me," he whispered. He carried it back, wrapping it in cloth. The realization struck him. Luma wasn't just some alien animal. It had control over energy, frequency, maybe even the planet itself. As the days turned into weeks, the bond between them deepened. Luma began to understand gestures, tone, even simple words. When Orion worked on the transmitter, it would hand him small tools, chirping proudly. When loneliness weighed on him, it would sing, a melodic hum that seemed to reach directly into his chest, easing every ache of isolation. But their peace couldn't last forever. The food supply was dwindling, and the beacon remained silent. On the 10th night, the skies lit up again. Another storm. Orion's shelter rattled as lightning scorched the dunes. The air shimmered with static. "Luma, stay close," he shouted. The little creature pressed against his chest as he shielded it beneath his jacket. The wind roared, tearing at the pod. Then, suddenly, a burst of light filled the sky. Ship. A rescue beacon flashing through the storm. Orion stumbled outside, waving his flare. "Here. Over here." Through the rain of sand, a shuttle descended. His voice broke as he saw the insignia. His unit's rescue craft. But when he looked down at Luma, his joy faltered. The creature trembled, its glow fading. He realized the storm's energy was killing it. Whatever frequency the human beacon emitted, it was poisoning Luma's delicate body. "Hold on," he whispered, shielding it from the static waves. "They'll help us both." But Luma shook its head, or something close to it. It reached up, pressing a tiny glowing limb to his cheek. Images flashed in his mind. Stars, dunes, the bond they had shared. Then he felt warmth spread through his palm into his heart. The rescue team's boots hit the sand behind him. "Lieutenant Hale, you're alive." He turned, but when he looked back at his hands, Luma was gone. Only a faint shimmer of blue light lingered on his skin, sinking slowly beneath the surface like ink in water. "Sir," the medic asked, "are you injured?" Orion stared at his hands. "No," he murmured. "Not anymore." They lifted him aboard. As the ship rose through the atmosphere, he gazed at the planet below, its dunes glinting faintly with blue, as if whispering farewell. Years later, back on Earth, he couldn't explain it. Sometimes when he stood under the stars, his hands would faintly glow, the same soft light that had comforted him on that endless night. Scientists dismissed it as residual radiation, but Orion knew better. Luma hadn't died. It had become a part of him. And every time he looked up at the sky, he could still feel the pulse of that tiny, brilliant heart beating somewhere among the stars, reminding him that even in the darkest isolation, connection could be found in the most unexpected forms. The rescue ship cut through the clouds, but Orion's eyes stayed fixed on the small shimmer fading in his palms. "No," he whispered, his throat tight. "You're not leaving me." The medic reached for him, but he barely heard them. The storm howled outside, scattering blue sparks through the sand. For a fleeting instant, he saw Luma's outline take shape, tiny, radiant, smiling if such a creature could smile. Its light wrapped around his hand, warm and pulsing. "Thank you," a voice echoed faintly, not in his ears but deep within his mind. Then the glow sank into his skin, vanishing completely.